I find myself in this country, so it's better to move to this country to be with these people and to be with this culture, and it was a good decision.
Committee, I think your organization recorded 628 attempts of disinformation.
Actually, this 628 attempts is only in 3 last months.
3 last months?
3 last months. This country is safe. This country is not poor and not in danger or something. They were telling us that Russia is bad and it's not very developed. When we came here, we are surprised.
Murmansk is far north, it's quite cold. Morocco is in south, quite quite warm. So you see there are a lot of contradictions.
Zvezda Holding presents Dynamic Spectrum Talks. Now.
Hello, dear friends. This is the Dynamic Spectrum Talk podcast, a place where we talk to interesting people from all over the world, with people from different regions, with different cultures, with different history, personal history, with the obvious aim to remove and destroy artificially created dividing lines between peoples and nations. We are trying to find a mutual understanding, as well as looking for invisible threads that unite us all. In the studio, me as usual, Yuri Lindre, and today we have a special guest. I think for the first time, we have a guest from Morocco region, from Morocco country, from the Middle East region, from Northern African region, sorry, beg your pardon, from Northern Africa. And our guest represents the global majority, the global south, as currently we may call it. I mean, the majority of the world, people that are trying, to connect each other to build a better future for all of us. And let me welcome in the studio Nabil Belkas, am I correct pronouncing your name?
Exactly.
Head of the National Committee of the Kingdom of Morocco for the World Youth Festival. Nabil, hello. Thank you so much for finding time to participate in our show.
Thank you for hosting me. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you in such amazing program, and it's honor for all of us and our team and all our people to be represented in such great programs.
Very well. So let me start with asking you the most obvious question we have, because in the studio we usually meet with people from different countries representing different cultures, and all of them are united by one thing, this thing called Russia, because somehow they're in Russia. Our country, maybe our language, our culture, in a different period of time, somehow appeared in their life. So please tell us about your personal story, how Russia appeared in your life.
In what concerns the story of myself with Russia, it's a long story since I was a child, and thanks to our friends at the Russian embassy in the Kingdom of Morocco, to Ruski Dom in Morocco and other institutions, I was discovering Russia since I was a little boy, and back then I was always interested in discovering Russia, in knowing more about Russia, and thanks God that I had the chance to visit Russia before moving here. Definitely, I had 15 times in Russia.
15 so far?
Yeah, 15 before moving here, in events, in forums, in BRICS events, in World Youth Festivals and others. So we had a good exchange and a good chance to discover Russia. So this is a long story, and I guess it's not only just a love of Russia, but we feel like you are part of Russia and you are aiming to defend Russia and to be to promote Russia in your country and the world.
So, you said before moving to Russia, you've been to our countries about 15 times.
Mm-hmm.
And since when, what time you decided to stay a bit longer in Russia?
Actually, the decision that was made to move to Russia is when I was living in China. I was living in Beijing for 2 years, and at one moment I was invited to Mivmesti Forum, which was in Moscow in December 2024. And I had the chance to see the president, Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin, here in Moscow, and I was like, okay, I guess this country gave me much, gave me many things. So I guess I find myself in this country. So it's better to move to this country to be with these people and to be with this culture. And it was a good decision. And thanks to this, we have made many achievements since I moved here. So thanks God, it was a very good decision.
Well, sounds quite impressive, but are you satisfied, as I understand, with your current lifestyle? And as far as I know, you study Russian language too.
Yes.
So hopefully, with the pace of time, when we'll see each other next time, you'll be able to show your skills in Russian language, probably.
Конечно.
Конечно, sounds nice. Mambil, you know what? I wanted to ask you about the international meeting called Public Talk, which was recently held in Moscow. It was organized by the National Committee of Morocco, the organization you represent, in cooperation with the World People's Assembly at Moscow State Linguistic University. So what was about this event? Because as far as we know, you actively participated in it and even delivered a speech. Please tell us more.
Well, this event was very quite important for us because it was the first event of 2026 for us and for our partners, the World People Assembly. And the most impressive thing is that we could make speakers from 5 continents. So it means from Europe, from Asia, from North America, from Latin America, and from Africa, and from Europe for sure. So gathering all these speakers from all these different backgrounds in Moscow to speak and to give their idea about Russia, to say about what they think about the current world order and everything is quite an achievement for us. And it's not always an opportunity to gather all these countries and continents in one room. And the most important thing is that it will not be the final one. It will be a series of public talks. So next one will be in India in March, this next month. So we will make it in many countries. So it was the first one, but it will be not the last one.
The reason why I highlighted this event, this meeting, public talk, was your quote, because you said during this event that your committee, I think your organization, recorded 628 attempts of disinformation. The spread of fakes was aimed at undermining the confidence of Moroccan youth in Russia. This is very disturbing, I would say. So, please tell us more about this fake news, mainstream media agenda, and what can we do in order to counteract or to fight against this one-way propaganda?
Actually, this 628 attempts is only in 3 last months.
3 last months?
3 last months. It's
Sure.
not even 1 year or something. So, actually, the thing is that last year, Russia hosted the World Youth Festival Assembly, as you know. It was in Nizhny Novgorod. Do you know that Morocco was the first in number of applications in the world? So which means that no India, no China, no other country has been applying to this festival more than Morocco. This was thanks to the good communication and promotion of this festival and Russia in Morocco that we made. And this also made many people, many organizations who are Western to be annoyed, because they didn't used to see that Moroccan youth apply to Russian events or go to Russia and everything. So we have recorded that many fake news concerning that. For example, we find that many fake accounts go to our page and to other page saying that we try to take people to war. We are trying to take people to prison or something. So this was not an innocent attempt. It was an attempt to make people not to apply, not to go to Russia, not to discover Russia. And this was first thing. The second thing is that the solution from our side was to not let the empty place. So it means that we should go straight forward to make videos from Russia, to make the Moroccans and to foreigners who are living in Russia to make videos and podcasts and everything to show that this country is safe. This country is not poor and not in danger or something. So and we have succeeded in that. And currently we are again for this year's festival, the first in number of applications.
Very well. Yeah, because, for us, it sounds quite ridiculous because we live in this country. We understand our pluses and minuses. We know the situation. But what we see how our country is sometimes considered, especially in the West, is like we're talking about other planets. So it's nothing common with the reality. And it's good that youth, especially youth from Global South, are breaking these fake news walls, trying to reveal the truth and say, okay, this is the country. We find it in this way. Take it or leave it. This is our impressions.
Oh, actually, talking about this thing, we had last year in Nizhny Novgorod, we had three Moroccans who were used to go to European Union forums, and they come for the first time to Russia. And at the last day of the festival in Nizhny, one of these guys came to me saying, Nabil, we really was not thinking Russia is like this. They were telling us that Russia is bad and it's not very developed. When came here, we are surprised, which means that there are trying in the European Union programs, especially the students exchange programs and other programs delivered to youth, to make people not only to spread their values, their bad values, but also to make negative narratives about Russia. So this is reflected many things actually when we heard it.
You said that applications from Morocco to participate in the World Youth Festival is beating the records. So it's the most application coming from your country. So second obvious question is how Russian people is considered in Morocco among the youth, among the society in general.
The good thing is that when we started to work about promoting Russia, we found that people are positive toward Russia. They are positive because they respect the president of Russia. They respect the image of Russia. So they see it as a strong country, but also as a respectful country. Unless they have bad, for example, vision and bad image about France, about West. But for Russia, for example, it's always positive. And whenever you say to a Moroccan Russia, he is always smiling and supporting. So that's the good thing. And it was much easier for us to work with them about this.
You mentioned France, and I think we must also touch this topic because for many decades, France was a guarantee, some sort of guarantee of the of peace in Africa, especially in the former regions that were under France influence and or the former colonies. But we see that in the past few years, France is slowly but surely, going out from African countries because France failed their, let's say, primary target or promises towards the national governments that they will secure them, that they will create peace and justice. Nothing such had happened. So I think probably people, maybe in neighboring countries to Morocco, are feeling some sort of unrest towards France. Is it true?
The thing is that France is not an innocent country in Africa, and it's not a peacekeeper. The thing is that currently, even now, France is printing the currency of more than 15 countries in the world, which means they took their gold to print their national currency, which means their own ruble, their own currency there. And many attempts and many situations in Africa, for example, France was supporting the dictators there and the elites to support and to protect its own interests. So mainly the French government throughout the decades didn't care about the African people or the African resources. The only interest was to protect its own interests there. And what happened in Mali and Burkina Faso have inspired other countries to follow its path. For example, in Morocco, we had a diplomatic crisis with France in the last 10 years. And currently we have removed French from being the official language. Now French is not the official language of Morocco, and we have made our native language as official language of the country. And this was a strong message to France that it's a new era coming. And that's the thing. And now you can see that African youth are now even moving to other countries, to China, to Russia, and others, and don't go to study in France anymore, because they got to know that France is not that strong country anymore, and it's not a strong country. So there is no sense to speak about France as a partner or as ally. So
Yeah, and I fully understand what you're talking about. I mean that the France wanted to present themselves as the peacekeepers, as a key country that can solve the North African problems. It's not because it was in the reality, but it was performed this way at the mainstream media and during the high-level meetings. France was like if you're talking about these former French colonies as different parts of the umbrella, so there was on the top, and without France, everything would collapse. So this is how France presented itself.
actually, I wouldn't say that, because when we go to history, for example, 2011, it was a French plane who bombed Gaddafi when he was in Libya.
Yeah.
And now we see that after this, Libya is divided into two countries inside. And couldn't be as strong as before. If we see the nuclear weapon that was dropped in Algeria in last century, for example, there is no country in the world that made aggression and made crimes in North Africa more than France. That's a true thing. Napoleon, for example, in Egypt have killed many people inside the mosques and the churches. This is not a new thing. It's not about the Fifth Republic of France. It's something that is way older and still until now.
You mean the traditional French policy towards Africa, towards Northern Africa, remains more or less the same. So
exactly, and now we can see
divide and rule, conquer and control.
Exactly, and now, for example, in Congo, for example, you can see that France, instead of keeping peace, they are supporting each part of conflicts, and now a bloody war is going between the people of the same country because of the French support. So there are many situations in Africa that can prove this. So
could you please, maybe I have not a theory, but an idea, and it is shared by many people and experts. If we look to Africa, to the African countries, we can find out that the borders, national borders, sometimes were divided, strictly with strict lines. So it was like European powers, they wanted, okay, that will be my land, let's use this line. And so, I mean, this division, this split didn't cover the settlement of certain people, certain religions. So it means that one ethnic group could be divided or split with many countries. And a lot of problems of the current Africa is because there is no, let's say, a nation within its usual traditional borders. So it means that some people that share, let's say, same history and, language and religion wanted to unite, but they are split with different countries. The other, maybe a tribe or ethnic group, is trying to suppress this, and a lot of conflicts. And the idea, what I want to present you, and please confirm or give your thoughts on that, is that it was artificially created with a clear intention in order to split people, not to allow them to unite. So it was not just obvious thing how to split former colonies and to create the borders of the country. It was an original intention that keep local people busy fighting each other because they are...
Actually, it's not a secret, by the way. It's not a secret. It's true. And it's a plan. And it's not a secret. Why? Because let's come back to the previous century. There was in Middle East and North Africa the Ottoman Empire of Turkey. That's good. But nobody remember that when Britain and Western countries wanted to divide this big empire, they divided into same lines, same straight lines, and they didn't care about the historical borders of each country and each one. So France, for example, France went to Algeria, for example, in 1830. For example, Syria and Lebanon and other countries were divided into same logic, but it proves that it was not a coincidence. It's a plan. And it's not a plan just to give these countries independence, but it's a plan to make each country more weak, so it can be more easier to conquer or to rule it. And this has happened. And even now in Arabic countries, between ourselves in Morocco, for example, and other countries, we only say that, for example, there is current plan now to divide, for example, Syria and Iran. Iran, for example, there is Zhirinovsky even said it more than 10 years ago. They want to divide Iran to three parts, and I guess we can see it in future.
Yeah, because there are different ethnic groups, large ethnic groups, and they wanted to split them.
Exactly. So we have seen that, for example, during the last 10 years, they were supporting Sunni against Shia, against many religious groups in Middle East. But when we go back to the origin of this conflict, we will see that it's only about energy matters, about resources matters. So it will be more easier for countries like United States to go and take the resources of these countries if it's divided and more weak. And it's a plan, and it's not a coincidence for sure.
And the, let's say, global goal, or the primary goal of the global majority, global South, is to keep united and to say no when we can say no.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's go back to Russia from the Middle East, from the Northern Africa. There is one interesting fact about you we didn't mention in the beginning. You are an ambassador of the Murmansk region government of Russia, which is quite a unique and unusual situation. First of all, because you are foreigner from Morocco and ambassador of the Russian region, and secondly, because Murmansk is far north, it's quite cold. Morocco is in south, quite quite warm. So you see, there are a lot of contradictions within this fact. So please tell us more. How did you become a representative of Murmansk, and what do you do actually?
Actually, I was in Murmansk more than 3 times before, and in Murmansk region government, there was a project which is Course na Sever. This project is to bring people from many regions of Russia to go to live in Murmansk, to work in Murmansk. And actually, last year we have brought more than 800 people from different regions of Russia to come to Murmansk. And I was the only foreign ambassador of Murmansk region in last year and this year also. And it's quite an honor, because I share many love to this region, and I consider it as my second region, because when I go there, I feel that I'm home. I feel that I'm comfortable. Weather is also good for me.
Really? The weather is good?
Exactly.
Even during winter?
I was in December there, and in November, yes. And next week I will go there again. So Murmansk is quite a special region. The people is quite special also, and very amazing and rich culture. The most important thing is that this project of bringing people to work and live in Murmansk is a project that is implemented within the vision of President Putin. And he was mentioning this during the last Arctic forum that was there. And the government of the Russian Federation puts much budget to make it easier. So this region of Murmansk in this Russian Arctic being more able to be more developed, especially that we can see that in the Arctic Circle, we have United States trying to take Greenland, for example, and we have many NATO forces. So it's quite impossible and not logical to keep this region empty. So it should be developed and strong. And currently we have a very good and great military base in several mosques, and now the region is being more developed.
Okay, well, yeah, I understand. And in terms of current situation in the Middle East, we see that from time to time the main logistics channels are being blocked between, Suez Channel or Hormuz Channel is currently, and we understand that alternative routes, sea routes, are on the rise currently, and one of the alternative is Northern Arctic route, which, due to global warming, keeps already naval during all, not during summer, but during winter as well. So it is possible to arrange the logistics and deliver of different goods and items all around the world, not using these problematic traditional routes. And of course, this is why the northern parts of Russia must be actively developed, because otherwise this route won't work very well. There should be bases, maintenance, etc., etc., etc. Good that you're developing the region, and hope it will bring the nice, fruitful results in the upcoming future. But let me shift our discussion a little bit towards culture. Could you please tell us more about uniqueness of Morocco? You already said that you belong to the, let's say, Northern African Arabic family. We understand that there are a lot of similarities between neighboring countries, nations, but in any case, all of these countries and people have their uniqueness. What is so special in Moroccan people and your culture, your heritage?
As Alexander Dugin said before, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, he said that Morocco is not a normal state, it's a civilization state, just like Iran, just like other countries. Why? Because in North Africa, we have two main cultures and civilizations, historically. It was Morocco, the Moroccan kingdom, which was from Senegal to Spain. And we have, of course, Egypt and the long history of Egypt too. So this country was the source of all the culture, and even you can see that many countries in North Africa have the same food, the similar food coming from the same empire, which means that that a person who visits Morocco can discover and understand the whole region in one country, and that's the most unique thing. And also at the same time, Morocco is so different inside. So you can find snow and find the deserts, and at the same time find the sea and the forest and everything. So that's the unique part of it. But currently, actually, Morocco now is much more developed than before. So it's not about only deserts and nature, but currently, for example, we are the most country in Africa and Arabic world who exports cars. So cars are more most countries to export cars. 10 years ago, we couldn't believe that an African country can reach this level. Also for planes and for other industries. So I guess that currently, and also the most important thing, when you go to Senegal, to Mali, to Burkina Faso, and other countries in the West Africa, you will find Moroccan companies, Moroccan banks, and Moroccan groups who are operating there. Because Morocco currently is the most and largest African investor in West Africa. So it means that it's a big influence, but also big history. So it's this match and this mix also makes this country unique, and this country far from the stereotypes that is always linked to Africa or to Arabic world. So that's the most important thing.
How do you think, do the Moroccan people consider themselves as the bearers, the holders of the civilizational code, not just like being an ethnic group, but realizing themselves as a civilization, unique with own historical path, with...
Actually, I guess this is quite true, and this is quite a strong feeling that is there. So, for example, when an Moroccan person speaks about Russia, the first thing he says, well, we have made the relation with Russia in 1777 with Ekaterina II. So there is this line of history that is always continuing. There is no
most of the African countries didn't exist during those times.
Exactly. Most of the African countries, for example, Algeria was established in 1963. Other countries even way after that. But when
there were only Egypt, Ethiopia, probably Morocco, and
exactly.
this is it.
So currently, this current kingdom is 12 centuries. Currently, the existing state is 12 centuries, but the whole civilization is way before. And we are talking about a country that was taking all Spain and Portugal within the Moroccan Empire, which is now which was known as Andalus. So this history cannot be denied. And that's why you can see that Moroccan people are always fighting for culture, fighting about their symbols and everything. So that's the thing that is impressive. And that's why, by the way, that in the last World Youth Festival in Nizhny Novgorod, Morocco was the only country who organized a cultural stand. And everyone was bringing souvenirs, bringing cultural dress and food. And so this was reflecting a population and a youth that is proud of its history. But this is quite impressive because this is the main reason why Moroccan people respect and loves Russia, because they know that Russia is a quite long history. Russia is a quite long culture and rich history. So that's why mainly these two civilizations always respect each other. And that's why Putin, for example, always whenever there is a discussions with Morocco, he always says that the relation between Morocco and Russia is beyond the politics. It's a historical thing. So that's the important thing.
This is clear, but I suggest to go to the greater Morocco. Let's go out of the Moroccan border and talk about the Maghreb region. The place where the sun sets. Am I correct? So the literal translation or the meaning will be like that. Historically, we already talked a little bit that historically France was active there, trying to colonize this region. But what is Maghreb today? Do you feel, local people, they feel that they belong to something special and they can cooperate and do better future for them, despite they are now live in different countries? Is there something that unites them beside the meaning, the title called Maghreb?
Actually, there was an attempt to make a union of Maghreb countries. It was in 1984 with Gaddafi, with King Hassan II and other leaders, but it failed. Why? The problem is that in the cooperation, the relation between these countries, there was always that French colonizer always coming and bringing conflicts, even after independence. So, for example, we had a war between Morocco and Algeria in 1963. It was quite clear that France was supporting both sides. And even currently now we have many tensions and political tensions. When you go back to the origin of the source, you can find that the Western countries are supporting the conflicts between these regions. Why? Because imagine if there is a union which is next to the European Union and has the resources, the gold, the gas, the oil, and the agricultural power. So, and same language and same dialects and same religion. This is a union that cannot be broken if it's made. And it can break the European Union force, because the European Union is different languages. There are even different religions inside it. Italian speaks Italians, Spanish also, French, others. But in North Africa, we have same dialect, even not even same language. And this is even one French politician have said that there should not be never a union between these countries, because if there is this union, there will be economic disaster for us. And they are right, and that's why we cannot see any union currently. And in the future, I don't think that there will be a union, because there are still many motivations of conflicts, and we are trying within our World Youth Festival to unite the youth and to bring the youth together and be good sides. But the political and geopolitical situation proves itself.
How do you see the youth role the youth of the global south, the youth from Northern Africa, from your country in particular, the role of the youth in the fixing, I would say, the international relations, because we understand that we are entering the phase of endless conflicts, local, global, etc. This is not something abnormal, because we have seen a lot of conflicts in the past, very cruel and bloody conflicts. But to build a better future, to unite forces in order to achieve something, we must somehow end this, at least to keep all the conflicts under control. And the hopes of many people are within the youth, that the new generations with a new mindset, with new ideas, with new energy, sooner or later will come, or will shift and will come to the power, will shift the local elites, and then they will have the ability to change something. Because you belong to the young generation, to the youth, could you please share your thoughts about how do you see international youth? It is possible that with the pace of time, we can expect changes, better changes in the international relations. I understand this is a difficult question, but
I guess no, it's actually a good question, and if it's difficult, it's because it's a good question and a question that should be answered anyway. Currently, we have seen that many models in some countries of youth have made it to power and then changed the realities and changed the geopolitical situations in their countries. But currently, we have active youth in global south. So, for example, we have seen that in Brazil, for example, the youth of Brazil are active in Russia, active in China and other countries, and they are promoting these ideas of BRICS, for example, and other of multipolar world ideas and everything. But in other countries, for example, some African countries, for example, we can see that there are active youth, but they don't have their place where to act, place where to prove themselves, and this is quite a challenge for them for sure. But it depends on each country situation. So when a country is supporting the youth platform, supporting the youth dialogue inside it, so definitely if these people have this ability to show their opinion and to act, they will definitely change everything. But only if there is this strategy in the country. So, for example, United Arab Emirates, for example, they have Arabic councils everywhere. Even in Russia, for example, they have the Emirates Council. And this council, for example, is changing much. So, for example, in Russian Federation, they are making many events in GIMO and other institutions, and they are showing and making bridge between Russia and Emirates more and more. So this is a model of a country that supports youth and provide them the platform where they can prove themselves. In other countries, no. There are other countries, they fight for youth because there are people, for example, who wants to stay in their political seats or whatever. So it depends on each country. So, but the history proves to us that when you support your people and your youth, you always win. But if you face them, you will not kind of continue your paths. And we had many models in the past, actually.
This is clear. Thank you for the explanation. Unfortunately, our program is gradually coming to an end. But before we conclude for today, let me ask you the final question, which is also quite important. Like the first question I asked you about how Russia appeared in life, and the last question is, I think, the most important one. You live in Russia for quite a long time. You visited our country a lot, talked to our people, visited many regions. So probably you can tell me what are the similarities between Moroccan people and Russian people, and what may be the biggest difference you find?
Actually, I was in more than 21 regions of Russia. I was in Khakassia, for example, in Volgograd and other regions. And there is one big common thing between Morocco and North Africa and Russia, actually, and all this region, is that both societies support the family values, support the traditional values, and this include kind of that there is those relation between families, between that each family, for example, members meet each others in Maslenitsa, for example, in Russia, or other holidays. Same in Morocco and other countries. So that's why many Russians who moved to Morocco, for example, and we stay in contact with them, they didn't feel a lot of changes because they see that the people are hospitable and everything. So that's the thing. But at the same time, there's some differences. For example, that Moroccans can hug you in the streets and be more open. For example, can come and ask about your family and personal things. For example, in Russia, it will not be appropriate to ask about personal things for especially someone who you don't have a family ties with them. But the most important thing is that we believe that our both countries and our both regions are fighting for the same purpose, is to protect the family values, to protect the traditional values, and this common sense toward the history, because our next generations are facing really bad challenges. There are many Western values that are trying to be spread and promoted in our countries, and promoting our cultural things and our society's values are important in this part of the history, and we are not ready to see that many of our new generation will be LGBT or something. So we should support our values, support our family values, and not let any bad ideas and thoughts and narratives come to our societies. That's actually the idea of our festival, for example, and our organizations and everything.
So you think that the westernization, so-called westernization, the spread of Western culture and influence isn't that good, so it's better to promote your unique culture. I mean, not your personally, but all of the countries should protect it, their own heritage, and cultivate it instead of just adopting something that's coming from the outside.
Absolutely, because these Western ideas or thoughts or values are against the human nature. It's not about Russian culture or Moroccan culture or Chinese culture. It's not about that. Because, for example, when we spoke about multipolar world, what does it mean? It means that the Chinese civilization will protect itself, will be on the Chinese way. Iran will be on the Persian way and its own values. Brazil and in Latino way. So that's
and all of them respect each other.
Exactly, and all of them support their traditional values and their family values and the human nature. That's the most important thing. So, for example, when you see that, for example, in Qatar, there was the World Cup in 2022. How was it possible that a country like Germany, for example, come and say to this great organization of this World Cup that no, we should let the homosexual, for example, and others to be inside? For example, why there is no rainbow flags in there was this serious question, but was made by Germany to Qatar, but nobody denied that it was the best World Cup, for example. So this proves that there are many tries, attempts to affect and to
force
impact.
to install the not even just wrong, but external values, and they're trying to export.
Exactly. And they are putting much money, much budget to promote these ideas and these thoughts. For example, I will share with you a quick story. In Morocco in 2021, I had a meeting within a group of students with the American Council in Casablanca, and it was quite not official meeting. It was at the consulate there, and the council said in one student thing, he said, "Well, how do you plan to promote the LGBT rights in your universities?" and it was like for me by that time I didn't show that I'm pro-Russian or something. I was like just recording and making notes, but it was quite a surprise for me because we didn't expect that this will come from a consul of America to students. So that's the thing. So it shows that there are attempts, they are trying, they are working on it, they are putting budget in it. So supporting our organizations and our culture abroad is important in this part of the history.
But it's good to realize that the majority of the population worldwide stand on the same ground. I mean, traditional values no to this harmful agenda, because you rightly mentioned it goes against human nature, and it's good that we can support each other in this traditional and the family values. Nabil, thank you very much for being with us. Unfortunately, our time has come up, and Radio Zvezda, the Dynamic Spectrum Talk podcast. Our guest today is Nabil Belkas, head of the National Committee of the Kingdom of Morocco for the World Youth Festival, and me, the host, Yuri Lindre. See you next time.
Zvezda Holding presents Dynamic Spectrum Talks now.